You know, this is a decision that you have made as a follower of Jesus at some point in your life. You know, you came to the place, like I did, where it was like, Lord, I'm all in. I'm all in, man. I've lived with me as the master of my own destiny. I've lived with me as the captain of my own ship, and I ruined my life. I destroyed my life. I don't want that anymore. Jesus, you're number one. Like, I'm not just jumping in with one foot, I'm jumping in with both feet. I am all in. I'm completely in. I'm holding on to nothing in this world. You guys came to that place, right? Hey, listen, it's a choice that was made, and it's a choice that needs to continually be made. It's a choice that needs to be continually made in your life, because sometimes what happens is it's like, yeah, I had that experience, and that was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but then over the course of time, you kind of drift back like the Israelites did in their mindset with Egypt. You're like, well, it wasn't that bad back there. It wasn't bad back there. Like, we had cucumbers and leeks and garlic, and we had onions. Like, you forget about the slavery, you forget about Pharaoh, you forget about slaving away and making bricks with no straw, and pretty soon you find yourself with one foot in your faith relationship with Jesus and the other foot in the world. And in your mind, you're thinking, that's not where I want to be. And sometimes you can't even see that that's the reality in your life, but you've drifted over the course of time. And what I'm saying to you today is we need to wake up every day and just not only say it to God, but say it to ourselves. I'm all in. Lord, I'm all in. I'm not holding anything back. I'm not trying to find satisfaction in the things of the world. You have my whole heart. And this certainly was a message that Jesus had for the church of Ephesus. He's like, hey, you guys got it all going, man. You're a killer church. You got an awesome brand. Everyone wants to be like you. You're calling out false apostles. You're working really hard. You're laboring for those who are in need. But I have this one thing against you. You've left your first love. You're not all in anymore, even though on the outward it looks like it. I want you to note that he says the prayer is that Christ would dwell in their hearts through faith. So not in their heads, but in their hearts. And so you can be in a place where it's like your approach to Jesus is just intellectual. Your approach to Jesus is that he was a historical person. You don't deny his reality. You do believe that he was a historical figure. And so somehow you've made this connection to him in your head, intellectually, acknowledging him historically. Maybe for some of you, your faith has gone no further than your head because you think, well, Jesus gives me the best option for a flourishing life, best opportunity, so maybe there'll be a connection there, or you're a cultural Christian. I mean, this certainly is true in the South, where a lot of people grow up in the church, surrounded by Christian infrastructure, and they have it in their head, but it's never gotten from their head to their heart. And so that's not what God wants. That's certainly not what he says. He says Christ needs to dwell in your heart, which is the seat of your will, the place where all of your desires originate. It is the essence of who you are. It is the place from which everything else flows from your life. You can have Christ in your head, but not in your heart, but you cannot have Christ in your heart and not in your head. So when Jesus is dwelling fully in your heart by faith, it includes your mind. On the other hand, you can be in a place where you sit in a church year after year, and it's never seeped down into your heart and taken over your full life because it's just been a relationship with Jesus in an intellectual sense. You say, well, how can I know if I just have a faith that dwells in the head and not in the heart? Jesus said this. He said in Matthew 6:21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I would say for all of us, what is it that you treasure? What is it that you treasure? What is it that you love? What is it that you desire? What is it that you spend your time on? What is it that you spend your money on? What do you orient your life around? Because that's going to indicate where your heart is really at.